And in the bottom left, in the blue here, looking to make the massive upset for Mouse Sports, Heromarine.
And spawning in the top right, the red Zerg player for ENCE Esports. This is Serral.
So, it's a good big map to start in this game number one. And, you know, it was, I was about to say it was the only map that Dark won against Marv. That's not true because he did win the mech map. It was the only traditional TVZ that Dark won against Mara. Right?
How dare you? How dare you not call mech traditional?
At the highest level, I think that's fair. Although that being said, Gumiho is back in the pool. He is back to playing this game. He's not really qualified for too much yet, but it was actually really funny watching the announcement of him coming back and him starting to play on ladder again back in the middle of summer. And then immediately, you see like every Terran player start playing mech in all three different matchups. And you're like, maybe they have remembered. Gumiho has reminded them that mech is actually a style that maybe they should try.
And I like it. I think I like that aspect of our community right now, where we've had so many influential people move on to like serve like military service in Korea, and then they make their glamorous return. Do they play at the same level that they did? No, not immediately. We've seen some players that have been able to kind of ascend themselves back to the upper echelons, but it's so nice to pay homage to what they brought to the scene initially. And I think you talking about Gumiho with the Church of Gumiho and the Gumi God mech strategies being brought back in his honor. So it'll be nice to see how that transforms as we navigate out of the 2021 series and start making waves into the 2022 series of the ESL and IEM events. But as it sits right now, we have to find our way through the rest of the King of Battles. So, nice little timing here, getting the hatchery down before the Reaper can come and harass. So a couple of Lings. It's like a small consolation prize for the blocking of the hatch.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to lose those Lings. Right, ideally you get 4, you keep them alive, they're defensive early on, it's fine, but you get your third base up. I believe they got the SCV. No, the SCV is actually returning home. So you're able to do something. You're able to make sure that at least you get that timing that you're looking for. But look at this, Heromarine paying homage to the map that he's playing on. It's going to be a 3cc play coming in from the German Terran, and well, if you want it, there are two ways you can look about beating a player that you're probably not favored against. One of them is you're going to hit with some really crazy build. You're going to go, I don't know, you're going to play battle. You're going to do what Maru did. Maybe you're going to go battle cruiser mech, because Heromarine almost never plays mech. Or on the flip side, you can read it out. You can do a 3cc play. You can just, actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can do a 3cc play, and more importantly, you can go for the TY 3cc build, which is a 2-1-1, gets 2 Hellions, that also has a third base. And yeah, the downside, of course, your upgrades are a little bit later. You tend to be it's either 1 eBay at a somewhat decent timing, or 2 eBays at a much later timing. But yeah, you can go for something like that. Maybe catch Serral off guard. Maru used this build to 3-0 Serral back at Aces ROG. So, it has demonstrated success.
Well, I think anything that gets brought out in this series will have demonstrated success. You don't pull up against someone like Serral and not bring your best builds here, but the Overlord is going to be able to get in and spot this. So does see that quick third CC, does see the double barracks on top of it. So how does Serral choose to respond here? He's not responding in major ways here, just going to drone up behind it continually. He has a decent position to try and zone back all of these units with the queens. So queens are saying, no, you don't get to come onto the creep. This is our house, and you're going to take off your shoes before you come in. Oh wait, your shoes are wheels. Those are never going to come on my creep. Don't ruin my floor.
Yeah, man, rubber on creep, not the best deal. Now, you say Serral's not doing much. You got to remember, one of the downsides, especially against a build like this, well, yes, there is pressure on the map with these 5 Hellions, which does necessitate a couple more Lings than you might get against a true 2-1-1. The downside of going for a 2-1-1 like this, if you fail to find value, is the fact that the Zerg can absolutely just pound that D key. Just get drone up until he gets this 3-base 2-1. up until just right around that 5-minute mark where they have to build a couple more links to defend the eventual push from Heromarine. And again, that's going to hit, it traditionally hits right around 5:30. Surprised he's not actually moving out on the map with this because I believe his medevacs are done. There we go. Okay, there's the pickup. Going to be a little bit late. Going to hit closer to 5:45. But still, you do need links for that. You do need to make sure your queens are in the proper position. So we're going to see, it looks like Heromarine trying to abuse this. He's got Hellions on the left side, just off the edge of creep. And then, of course, the drop is going to move on the right-hand side here, just really forcing Serral to make some, hopefully, uncomfortable decisions.
But the decisions he has to make are going to be definitely more comfortable with that creep spread. He's this drop isn't able to push in as far forward. I think it's possible that these Marines are going to be able to shut down this 4th base, although Queens are able to bully all of these units back and away. Heromarine playing very cautiously, so this 4th base is going to be harassed but not shut down. And for the cost, I mean, really doesn't get a whole lot done on either side, but Serral's going to feel really good limiting the amount of harassment here coming out of Heromarine, forced to swing around, and that creep spread continues to push forward.
Yeah, someone once described creep spread from Serral as evil. And I don't know, Serral seems like a pretty nice guy. You know, he likes golf and he's a fantastic player. Apparently, liking golf makes you a good person, but we'll ignore that for the moment. This creep spread is looking evil. This creep spread is massively taking control of the map at this point. It's already pretty much right at that midpoint. Serral has its at most minimum 2 screens to clear through before you get to any one of his bases. It's just gonna be so hard for Heromarine to really find any sort of damage on top of a base. Yeah, maybe he can drop in, but certainly from an army push, it will be difficult indeed. Now, Baneling speed is done right now. Heromarine being a little bit cheeky, pushing right at that Baneling speed timing, but he will be able to get a queen. He will be able to be forced back. And now the multitasking starts. We got a medevac on the left. We got, 2 medevacs on the left, 2 medevacs on the right. But there is one thing that Serral has been good at his entire career, and that is not letting you go anywhere without knowing about it.
Yeah, scouting has always been a paramount feature of Serral's playstyle, and that's going to continue here in game number 1 of this best-of-5 semifinals. Not allowing Heromarine to even push on forward, so it's going to have to be scans that have to be used to draw things in. But it looks like Serral now going to be able to put some pressure in on that 3rd base location. Not going to find very much. A tank put in a very advantageous spot will prevent any roll buys or any links from getting in. And now Heromarine is going to start splitting things up and forcing Serral to make some choices here. Drop on the right-hand side actually doesn't ever connect. So this is a really great moment here by Serral. He bullies the medevacs just enough on the right-hand side that they don't dive into the natural or into the main base rather, excuse me, but the units in the natural deflected away. Serral, despite the supply right now, is showing a really nice defense overall. I think Heromarine is really struggling to find the damage that he's looking for. Oh, he can't afford to lose those.
Oh no, you don't want to lose that pressure on the map. Yeah. Now, I love this cheeky play from Serral in this game. He's going Link Bane, but look at that. That was a 6:30, I think, 7 minutes infestation. That was a nice job there. We'll clean up that drop as well. We're going really quick ultras in this game number 1 against Heromarine, and you want to talk counter meta ideas. This is one of them. We saw Raynor do this in one game against Beyond, I believe, in his actual qualifying game that he did win when he 2-0'd Beyond in that final match. And it's not. There's a reason it's not the dominant force, right? Ultras are a mid-game timing. They're not a late game. Well, as I say, that Hydroden's coming down. It's just a really quick hive. It delayed Hydra. Okay, you know what? I got excited, Rushi. It's not happening.
You're not allowed to have excitement or feelings. You're caster. You have to be completely unbiased at all moments. No excitement for anything, ever. You know the rules.
No, I'm biased towards good games.
Oh, okay. That's acceptable.
I'll try. But yeah, so here Heromarine now with the pressure he's been able to put on the map. He does have his 4th base underway. He's been able to take that pretty much on position. Planetary force is going up. And you know, the downside, if there is a downside, because this is the style that Serral is playing, is he's not really been able to put too much pressure on the map at this point. He's not taking damage, but he's also not really doing much to prevent the Terran from growing all that much either. Again, that is the style. You're just going to sit here on the edge of creep on Ling Bane, eventually get into Lurk Attack, eventually get into Hydras. You're looking really for that 12-minute timing, where you have Oath Lurker upgrades, you have 2-2, maybe you even have 2-1-2 if that's what you're going for, if that's the timing you're looking at. You got a couple Vipers, that's what happens. The Widowmines are not really going to get all that much. The Banelings will force the pickup here. Now here we're dropping on the left-hand side. We are starting to see the defense of Serral get stretched just a little bit, because of course he's sitting here on 5 bases. That's a lot of space to cover on a map like Glittery Ashes. And the big thing, of course, a lot of queens just went down.
Yeah, I think that's probably the bigger story of that engagement there is so many of those queens out at the front get taken away, which for Serral right now is not a horrible amount of damage because his creep spread's still pretty strong and he has some active tumors, but as time goes along, that's money that he could be spending elsewhere. That's upgrade money. That's additional lings. That's additional tech that's not going to be available. Those banelings do get taken down by that Widow Mine, not going to find a lot of damage, which means that this army on the left-hand side is going to be able to be more aggressive and draws more and more fire. Again, finding ways to be as efficient as humanly possible is Heromarine, and that is going to reflect in the units lost tab there. Another Widow Mine connects with more of this army, and Heromarine's finding absolutely every possible angle where he can make Serral pay for inefficiency or just for paying attention to a different part of the map, and where Heromarine is constantly attacking on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side. Here comes a drop, back of the natural. It's going to expend a lot of Serral's attention and also going to cost him in the long run.
Yeah, that's true. But look, +1 is just about done here. Lurkers are, well, they're morphing right now. They're not quite here just yet, but eventually we're going to have Lurker Burrow. We're going to have all the upgrades that Serral needs. So Heromarine, he's looking for an extremely thin timing before things start to happen in earnest. As the Lurkers, they arrive, they burrow down. Of course, no burrow speed just yet. It means this push on the left-hand side should be dealt with, though. Actually, Heromarine is going to be able to tank through that. We see Lurkers go down. Actually, the Lurkers on burrow for a second. Heromarine, does he have what it takes to push on through here? The Lurkers are all going down, and now there's no DPS with this army because Serral was dealing with the drop on the other side of the map, and the Queens are here. Lurkers have enough energy, and they will be, Vipers have enough energy, and they will be able to force this back for now. The drop that I thought was killed actually was able to pick up into the main base. Not too much damage there. Heromarine, he's taking a really good trade, though.
Yeah, he's making the most of this moment, and he's buying himself enough time for the transition as well. He's got 3 command centers on the way. He wants those scans, and he wants them now. 3-3 also in the works, and ghosts are in production as well. But he's got to be able to fight against the units of Serral right now, and that is still coming at a bit of a cost here. Queen's going to finally pick off one of those medevacs, so that does limit the amount of damage there on the right-hand side. And I think Lurkers are going to be able to stabilize Serral in this moment. He's got 7 in the production tab, +3 Carapace on the way, but it's only +1 missile. So while he's not really banking a whole lot on his Zergling and Baneling count, he's got 20 Banes, but I mean, those go through pretty fast. And when you're focused on the gas expenditure into Lurkers, that tends to be very fast. Trying to recover, but look at that. That is another good engagement there for Heromarine, where he's able to clear off the Baneling count. That's more gas that he's not able to invest elsewhere, and that keeps Serral on the back foot. He does have a decent gas bank going right now. Lots of geysers being used, so Serral's not in big trouble right now, but he's going to need more for the future, and he can't afford to be non-efficient right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right, though. That push from Heromarine on the upper side, it looked good, but just not quite enough there to punch through the Lurkers and kill the Queens and kill the base. And now Serral, he's rich. As you said, he's taking his 6th base now, pretty much just everywhere he needs to be on the map as he was. Yeah, he will lose this run by. That's fine. Because, again, it's all about the money. And the money is very much in Serral's corner at this point. Is Heromarine trying to do what he can, but that's just a run by of Marines, Marauders, no Widow Mines, nothing like that. Most importantly, no Ghosts. Lurkers are going to be able to deal with that one fairly nicely indeed, even without the buffer, because again, it's only 2-2 right now for the bio. Actually, the Lurkers have a survivability lead. Yeah, you know, attack upgrades, they're good for the Lurkers, but you know, +1 Lurkers will still shred a lot of bio heroes. Now we do have Heromarine looking to push on in, and he will get a couple Lurkers, but he will lose his entire army. Arguably, that kind of was worth it. I mean, Lurkers are very expensive, certainly in the gas count there, although again, Serral, he's got a lot of gas, so even losing that many Lurkers, he's going to be able to replace it. My question, though, is what is the ghost count of Heromarine thus far in this game? He's been building them for a while. We haven't really seen them hit the field yet.
No, there is a small group of them here on the right-hand side. The parasitic bombs have been very, very useful here for Serral, really softening up all of these valuable medevacs. But here come the Banelings. They're going to roll on forward and try to connect with some of the precious bio, but the Ghosts are going to be able to escape out to the left-hand side. So not going to be a whole lot here, but this whole army has to retreat away. There's just nothing to really body block for these Hydras. The Hydras fall apart very fast, especially against something like the Ghosts that are going to do a decent amount of damage and really keep Serral contained. But Serral is on the path to try and expand himself forward. He is taking the forward couple of bases here, really expanding his ability to lead outward economically, but it's also the harassment here as well. These lurkers are causing a lot of chaos for Heromarine, and suddenly how the turns have tabled. It's now all of the sudden Serral that's constantly putting on split pressure across the map. Heromarine's having to defend, and despite the fact that he's able to pick off a few lurkers here and there with those attacking Marines and medevacs on the opposite side of the map, Heromarine's advantage is going to lie in being able to stay out and aggressive, but these Banelings are going to be able to find some very valuable targets, not going to get on top of the Ghost, once again escaping out to the bottom hand side. Heromarine being very careful to watch his most delicate and costly units here, but I think he needs to be able to find more damage that he can capitalize on just by splitting Serral's attention and not allowing him to focus on these main armies in the center of the map.
Yeah, that's fair. I would like to point out, by the way, as you talk about what Heromarine has to do, Heromarine's on 91 workers. Heromarine is richer than many Terrans I've seen. Actually, I would argue that he has too many workers for this stage of the game. Once you start to get on like 4 or 5 orbitals, you really actually want to start to bring that worker count down just a little bit, down to like 45, 50, 55 workers, depending on how many orbitals you are able to generate, because you have mules. Right, you're able to start dropping that down a little bit more, and then you're just able to build this, 140, 150 army supply. That really makes it a little bit easier to get everything that you do need, as those Banelings are going to come crashing on into this base. SCV is getting just absolutely run out of there, but still the Banelings are doing what they can. Serral will break a base. Although Heromarine, losing those SCVs, probably pretty happy about it, as we will see those Banelings get burrowed, but there is just enough range for all but one, and the Burrow Baneling will not be successful.
Oh, we're all desperate. We're thirsty for that Baneling bust on top of a unsuspecting army. We're just all waiting pins and needles. We see it going to the ground, and we all go, "Oh, is it gonna happen?" Not quite yet here. Kind of a weird choke point here for Heromarine. Going to try and capitalize on that, but the Baneling's going to be just a little bit too strong for the bio, and the Ghosts are going to have to work in from the right-hand side. Some good snipes finally coming down here. Heromarine getting a chance to actually utilize the Ghost for their intended purpose, but here comes, once again, better gas usage by Serral. He's going to be able to get more Banes. He's increasing his lurker count, and Serral is economically just being allowed to continue without any delay at all, and this is going to be another moment Heromarine has to pull out of the base there. He still loses 10 workers, but Serral behind it, building more bases, where he is stifling Heromarine economically. He is expanding like crazy on his side of the map.
That he is. Well, Rushi, for a second ago, you said that we are all thirsty for the Baneling hits. Do you know how we fix that? Do we know how we quench that thirst?
How?
G Fuel.
Oh,
official drink of esports. Quench that thirst. I'm sorry. You had to do it anyways. Heromarine, his economy, it's down just a little bit. He's only on 5 bases now, losing that 6. And this is the type of game where it is okay to run 21 Banelings into a planetary with a couple extra just to make sure that you get it actually down. As the Widowmine shots, the Traitor Mines are going to make sure that most of those Ghosts, even with personal cloaking, they do go down. And of course, unlike a lot of games where you see the Ghosts, they're just able to snipe down the Overseers, prevent themselves from being detected. Not this game, and I love it from Serral. He's realized that, look, okay, I'm in a great spot here. I'm trading very well, but it's really hard for me to break the Terran right now. I need to get to that next level of tech. I need to get to that next level of synergy. So we got a Spire done. We got a Greater Spire on the way, and he's going to start going Broodlord Lurker, which has just some insane virtuous synergies, like the Zerg version of Tank Liberator. You got the area denial, you got the ground area denial, and between the two of them, well, you're just hoping you don't get nuked.
Oh, if we got to a point where Heromarine felt comfortable coming out with nukes, I think we would all collectively just go insane, because that would be the special level of confidence that Heromarine needs against a player like Serral here. But I don't know if Serral's going to ever let him feel that confident. Both players trading units, or workers back and forth rather. Heromarine going to grab one of those forward bases. Didn't have a whole lot of workers on it. He's going to lose 12 workers on his own though. And Serral being so annoying with these Zerglings cycling run-bys, not only getting all of these workers cleaned up, but he's denying bases at the same time with Burrow. And now we finally start seeing Serral pushing it down the center of the map. Once again, going to get as much work done with those banelings as humanly possible. But the lurker count still remains rather low. It's 7 lurkers at this point. The Ling and Bane count continues to ever grow. And Serral so patient with these run-bys. He's running Lings in one at a time. He's drawing Mind Fire. He's being so thoughtful with this aggression here, and he's making Heromarine have to be just absolutely all over the map all at once, and it's just not working out.
Yeah, and I want to point out something here as we do see the double bird Banes try to catch more SCVs as they find their way on in. Serral has started burrowing 6 Banelings at a time instead of just the 3, or just the 2, and you're like, well, okay, why is he doing that? Well, Ghosts are not light units, Rushi. Ghosts, surprisingly enough, as small as they are, they actually are pretty good against Banes for the most part. You get Banes against Ghosts, so you can like force them to split out, force them to do whatever. But 6 Banes will still Ghosts, as we do have Banelings trying to find their way on in. Parasitic Bomb on top of this medevac as well, which means it is guaranteed dead. Serral trying to push on in though. Again, we're seeing more and more of the economy of Heromarine go down, but his army is still there, and it is a lot of Ghosts, which means we're going to see so much go down on the far side, downside of any type of aggression on a Terran player. Is once you want to leave and they have Ghosts on the field, you're losing a lot of your army to all of those snipes. But still, it is only 39 SCVs at this point. We're talking about, oh yeah, 45, 50, 55. That's once you have really established your economy. That's once you can make sure that when you drop your mules, they will be able to mine fully. You drop 5 mules, that's 250 minerals each. That's I'm not going to do the math on that. Yeah, it's like 1,500 minerals right there. As we have the Ghost looking to move on in. Personal cloaking. There's actually no detection with this army, so a lot of the army that looks to move on in will get target fired on down here. Snipes on top of some of the lurkers. So many queens going down.
Yeah, that's a huge pickoff here for Heromarine. He's trying to capitalize on this moment. Despite the fact that he's down 30 supply overall, he actually has the army advantage here. So if he can find a way to make Serral pay economically and make him not get any value out of his 33 worker advantage, Heromarine might find himself an opening to squeeze through and sneak out some additional situations to move on forward. But the reality of the situation is that Serral is making it very difficult for Heromarine to actually push in and deal these economic damages. He gets the base in the top left-hand corner, but that base really didn't have a whole lot of mining happening anyways. So much of the mining is actually occurring in the bottom right-hand side. So Serral able to keep this composure going. He has a gas bank as well, so 4,000 gas. He's not super worried. He's going to be able to remake these Hydras quickly. He's going to be able to remax his lurker count where he wants it to go. Oh, but he can't afford to lose those types of gas engagements here, even though it came at an 11 worker advantage for him.
No, I'm actually... So, let's see. Serral lost the upper left base. We saw that. Serral, at this point, we're 23 minutes in. His core 4 are really not mining at this point. So, let's see. He's got one base that he was really prevented from mining from the kind of that base that we're at right now. Prevented from mining for a time because there was a tank, there was a Liberator. He's kind of mining on the bottom, what do we want to call that? The 4 o'clock base. He's mining a little bit from kind of the central base. But other than that, I mean, his bases are starting to run out just a little bit. So he does have an eco lead, but it's not as big as you think it is. And the fungal, the entire army of the Ghosts. Half of them will go down here. Now the army is chasing the Ghosts. They're going to be forced to pick up and go home. And suddenly that critical mass of Ghosts, those 17, 18, 19 Ghosts that we had, Rushi, they're dead.
Oh, they're just all gone. It's all horrible. I mean, that was maybe one of the greatest fungals I've seen in the last 40 seconds of StarCraft 2. I keep the time low, then nobody can get mad at me, BeoMulf. But that was a very devastating loss here for Heromarine. He is getting his army supply back, but it's in lighter units. It's in the Marine count. He is starting to transition into a few more of those heavier units, getting in some Widow Mines, getting some Liberators out. The Liberators are starting to pay for themselves a little bit, and now Heromarine will try to capitalize on some economic damage, but Serral's across the map doing exactly the same thing. Nice little run by of lurkers and banelings will make that base at the 9 o'clock position fall apart.
Yeah, and that's friendly fire as well. Nothing from that base will survive. The last mining base of Heromarine, at least the last significant mining base of Heromarine, will go down. That's an orbital. That means less scans. That means less mules. And Heromarine, I mean, he was looking so good for like 2 minutes. He's killing these bases. He's denying economy. He's sniping everything. It's looking so good. And then he loses that last mining base. And now look at the minerals increase for Heromarine. It's like 5 a second. There's like 5 every 10 seconds. I'm sorry. There's no economy for Heromarine at this point, not really. And yeah, he's done a great job of denying it from Serral too. But Serral has a bank. Heromarine on 34 workers. He doesn't really have a spot to drop mules. Doesn't matter whether he has the mule count for it.
Yeah, Serral's got money at this point, and he can afford to pull these units as long as he's trading effectively. And the lurkers are going to get on top. Another giant fungal. That's going to be all of those units completely disposed of. Heromarine is starting to run low on his mobile army here, but does come at the cost of more workers here. These ghosts are going to be able to pick off some more drones as well. 17 drones get taken down, but when you already have a 30+ drone lead, 17 drones is expendable at this point, and Serral is going to be able to keep this under wraps. It is still a bit of a scary precipice here. The army count for Heromarine is still very strong, and those ghosts left unchecked can get a lot of damage done. But as long as Serral navigates himself on this creep, I think he should be okay trying to pivot Heromarine out of position here.
Well, I mean, the one thing here, we don't have a lot of lurkers left on the map, I don't believe. The supply gap is starting to be big in the army, right? It is 30, it is 40. But if Heromarine going to be able to just get really active on the map, or really start to split the map up, I guess, push on the left, push on the right, start to take positive trades against small portions of Serral's army, well, Serral's bank is kind of done too. Serral's not mining all that much. He's lost every mining base that he has, really. I think he's maybe got a couple spare mineral patches here or there, like in the middle of things. So we're now at the point where we're trying to take, Marat ninja bases. Serral just trying to find long distance mining because I think those 6 mineral patches are the only mineral patches he has mining in the game right now outside of some long distance mining stuff. And Gabe is getting pretty close to being able to take that bottom side base.
Well, I think Serral's doing a really nice job of keeping tabs on where Heromarine wants to go on the map. He's got lings burrowed everywhere. He's burrowed them in base locations. He's burrowed them in attack pads. Serral is just playing the style that he likes. He's the guy that knows it all. He wants all the information, so he's running lings in at every possible interval. He's dropping yet another burrowed ling here. Heromarine just gets done scanning that out and moving a base over, and no sooner than Serral drops another one, somehow sneaking past all of the defenses. Serral is just absolutely all-knowing here in this game number 1.
Oh man, that was so cheeky. He's like, I'm gonna run in, I'm gonna kill your bases. Or I'm going to kill your drone or your SCVs. Actually, no. It's just for the one ling on the burrow. Cheeky there, Mr. Sotala. But now we have this push of Serral finding his way through the middle of the map. And Heromarine has done a great job of putting the pressure on, of preventing Serral from ending this game. But the army of Serral is still terrifying, even as his bank is gone, even as he has no gas. Actually, he's not mining gas at all right now, which means that, you know what? We get to a point in late games against Zerg where the Zerg can only build drones, or can only build lings anymore. They just cannot build those big, expensive gas tower units that really allow them to play the game. So sometimes, particularly this happens against mech, far less often against bio, where the Zerg has a big mineral bank. They're like, I got 2,000 minerals, but I have no gas, so I can't buy the units that I need to actually trade against this army. Lings in the late game, they're good support units. They're not the primary thing, but the fungal. Here we go on top of everything. Will there be a second? There will not, but already damage on the medevac. Parasitic Bomb's going to do a great job. 12 drones have died, I think, from the Liberator on the north side. But Serral looks like he has what he needs now to break this last mining base of Heromarine. His last hope, his last chance in this game is 12, 13, 14. The entire STV economy of Heromarine at this point is going down. The orbital is going down. No more gas, no more minerals for Heromarine at this point. Now, maybe, just maybe, if Heromarine can chase this all down, if he can get all the lurkers, if his snipes are good, maybe he makes this work, because Serral doesn't have gas. But even still, there we go. We got abducts on individual ghosts at this point. Heromarine, he's broker than a joke. And, I think it's a quote steadfast all over but the crying.
Yeah, I think the crying is close to begun, but he's got a little bit of steam left in him here. He's going to try and harass that base top left one last time, but it will finally be Hydra's trying to clean things up, and the supplies do not lie. 128 to 62. Heromarine he's doing the Darren thing, right, where he hangs on and like, I've still got one mule ready to go, guys. Like I can do it. I got a base, see? But no, I think Serral's got this locked in. But what a great 30-minute game. I don't know that we would have necessarily expected that here in this game number 1, but Heromarine showing that he can hang with the toughest Zergs this side of Europe.
I mean, look, when you have had to when you've had to play Serral, since 2017, when you have had to deal with him at his best, you're going to learn how to play TVZ just a little bit. As Now we have Serral getting ready to move on in. But look, Heromarine is building one mine every couple minutes. Maybe if he can get some massive wood mine shots, maybe that's going to work out. But Serral's too good at this point. Snipe's going off on a couple of these lurkers. And actually, you know what? The supply is starting to equalize just a little bit here. Now it's only 10. Heromarine on the chase. If he can snipe down the rest of these lurkers, it's going to be a problem. But now the rest of the lurkers, they show up. The banelings as well. Nothing to really deal with this. It's going to have to be a hot pickup. Will those medevacs go down? Looks like that answer is no. But the mules, they get dropped. The last of the SCVs of Heromarine, he dropped down. He has one worker remaining. And for a second, you're like, man, well, you know what? Those snipes? We're starting to equalize here, Rushi. I said it was over.
You're kidding me. You're kidding me. I mean, this is a, yeah, I mean, this is quite the interesting situation here. Those snipes get just a little bit too close, so they do have to cancel and back off. But look at Serral. He's coming out with a few more infestors here. He's squeezing every last ounce of gas he's got into trying to mitigate some of the advantages of the cloak with these ghosts. But this is a lot closer than I think we otherwise would have imagined. Serral's not really able to capitalize on the fact that he's got 38 drones. Only now finally able to get there. But look at the mine. Oh, is that mine going to have a chance to fire?
I think that's I'm not sure that's a spore waddling over or whether it's the spore queue to get built, but I mean, Serral's broke. Serral's not really mining. He's long distance mining, which is more than can be said for Heromarine right now, but Heromarine has what, 4 or 5 orbitals at this point? He is able to make something happen, and oh man, Heromarine going to find he's going to find half the economy of Serral left at this point. This base is going to go down. 7 workers go down to the blink of an eye because you know what, ghosts, they do bonus damage to light. They do fantastic jobs. And with the gas, you pointed this out, Serral does not have a lot of gas in this army now. Okay, this will be forced to pick up, go home. But again, the lack of Vipers at this point means the medevacs can just kind of go up, run away, go home here. As long as you're not in range, of course, of the... Oh, there we go. Nice knife. As long as you're not in range of the Hydras. Heromarine, he is scrapping so hard in this game. I don't know how he's doing this, but the ghosts have... oh, the fungal! This is going to do it. GG Serral with the fungal. He takes game 1. Okay, I kind of half expected to see the players ask for a break after that game number 1 because that was intense. We're in game 2 right now. Man, Rushi, have you ever seen such a beautiful Overlord?
Very, very beautiful. The ventral sacs there on the left and right, it's looking healthier than ever.
Absolutely. So
that's all I had. I had nothing else. Your move.
Rushi, I relied on you for to give me half a second so I, get a drink of water, give my vocal cords a rest, and you're like, yeah, they have ventral sacs. They're fine.
Oh, well, see, you have to be
you,
a little bit, give me a little bit more to work with there.
Nope. Just Overlords looking pretty. I expect you to be able to riff for 7 minutes of just about how beautiful Overlords are. And then, in the late game fight, when we're 20 minutes in, you bring it back. You say, yeah, you know what? It's that Overlord. It's not this game from Serral is not as beautiful as that Overlord was, but it'll do the job. Serral wins because you are just that good, and
wow.
You are that in tune with the memes.
I meme that I could do all those things, and just as a matter of I got to get my mind link synced up with you, so that way I know that you are going to rehydrate yourself with G Fuel, one of our title sponsors of this event. So, of course, G Fuel keeping you going here on these long casting days. And I mean, you've had a longer go at it than I have here. You've been going since Friday. I just rolled out of bed this morning and decided to join you today. So,
well, Rushi, it's fun because throughout all the days here I've had really great backup, but I've had really great backup, a bunch of different great casters, including you, even if you failed me this time. But no backup is as good as the backup that Backblaze does provide. As we have the Reap here, trying to find some value. Actually, it's going to try to get a drone. It will be unsuccessful. And as aggressive as that was, it is not as aggressive as the protection that Backblaze can provide. Your files, your data over 1 exabyte has been restored thus far. Is that endemic enough?
I want to boo you, but I don't want to start fights. That's not what I woke up to do today. I didn't choose violence when I woke up today. So I'm going to say that was awesome. Exclamation point Backblaze in the chat. Thank you.
I'll try not to do that again, but it's going to happen again here. Now, I love this from Heromarine, by the way. I think he's kind of identified the way that he wants to approach this series against Serral. First of all, Heromarine, he's an extremely formulaic Terran. He's going to do the same thing over and over again. It's why he's so successful in things like EBT Cups, where players maybe don't have as much time to practice, as much time to prep as they might otherwise do, you know, say for a $15,000 tournament. But it also means that these builds that he plays are incredibly streamlined. He's not really going to make a mistake. I mean, most pro players won't, but he's not going to make any sort of inefficiency through the first 5-6 minutes. It's all about this idea that he wants to go for is the two Hellions, and the Reaper going to try to dive on in, once again attempting to punish Serral for maybe not building enough lings. This is something we've seen happen rather consistently in this game, but this time, nothing dies.
Not a thing. Serral with the positioning, with the pull timing, and he gets Heromarine caught up on the ramp, and oh, that's terrible. That's terrible damage there for Heromarine. He's got to be able to come away with something if he's just going to toss units out. And now on top of it, he's going to try and go into concussive shells, but that's going to get scouted right away. So if you're Heromarine, how do you try and maneuver this situation? You bring up a very good point. A lot of his builds are very streamlined. They're very mainstream on top of it. So how do you try and pull a quick one over on Serral, who could probably just dance with whatever's given to him? Oh, you're gonna go for this timing? Sure, I'll deflect it. Or, oh, you want to try and run this aggressive build? Yeah, whatever. I've got queens and creep spread. Bring it. So Heromarine needs to find a way to kind of dial this back in and kind of wrestle back a little bit of momentum on his side of the map. And he does have a he's got something floating in the bottom left hand. It seems like it's moving fast enough to be a medevac.
I mean, let's see. So, like, that should be a medevac. He did build. No, I think that's a Liberator, actually. He did go for that one. Now, of course, he did cancel concussive shells, just going into stim immediately afterwards. They were going to Liberator, going to try to find his way on it. And the Spore's in a great spot to get a couple shots, but not in a great spot to really remove things. But, of course, Serral has all the APM. He's able to move things, make sure he's able to defend it appropriate. And really what this is, more than anything else, it's a resource sink. It's not killing workers. It's not killing minerals. It's not killing gas. But what it is doing is, of course, it's forcing attention. It's forcing APM. It's forcing those kind of those resources that you don't think about as much. But still, Serral's going to be very fine with it. He's actually going to have the upgrade lead in this game. We talk about these kind of ling-heavy styles that tend to get evos faster than the Terran will, and therefore, well, actually, I guess the Terran won't get evos at all, but tends to get upgrades faster than the Terran will. Then you just hit with this massive flood of Zerg. So Serral's going to be able to do that this game, in part because Heromarine, he was going for a timing. He was going to go for a hell bad idea with concussive shells. And when Serral scouted, he's like, yeah, that's not going to work anymore. I know this man. Once he scouts something, he holds it. So, well, the game goes mid. The game goes late. The third base is underway for Heromarine at this point. We're going to start to see his push getting ready in about 45 seconds. He may start a little bit earlier, but it's just going to start to be happening in earnest right around that time that 1-1 is done.
Yeah, it's just business as usual for the Zerg player. So he's picking up his 5th base location. 4th base is pretty close to finishing up as well. And that 1-1 is going to be wrapping in. And you're talking about timings from Heromarine. I mean, Serral's going to be gearing up here as well. The Baneling Nest is now complete, so Banelings are going to be on the menu. Centrifugal Hooks only now started alongside the completion, so the Baneling Nest. So that is about as quick as you could possibly get it, but we're not going to see anything major coming in right away. But Lings alone can still find a lot of damage at this point, especially with the absence of a lot of tanks and a lot of mines. But Heromarine looking to make some pressure happen here across the map. Serral, though, with Lings in position to try and scout things out.
Yeah, they are, and I love the Lings just on the left, or excuse me, the right-hand side as well. You know, apparently I don't know my left from my right. That's fine. But the Lings on the right-hand side, they're just getting ready for the moment that we see Heromarine really get active on the map here. It's like 10 Lings, it's 5 Banes, something like that, maybe a little bit more. And it's looking to hit right with that Baneling speed time, just getting on top of things. But yeah, Banelings aren't done yet, so he's just going to look to crash through the wall here. One tank gets surrounded, the second one as well. Serral says, I don't want to play 30 minutes against you, Heromarine. That was too close for my comfort, so I'm going to try to bunch through right here, right now. We will see the entire army of Heromarine dying, but it's army for army. And honestly, Heromarine is okay with that. His economy was not touched. Losing a couple tanks, not great. In fact, the reason ZRG is so good in this matchup is because he's so good at kind of just resetting that tank count over and over again. But as long as Heromarine doesn't take too much economic damage, he's going to be fine. That being said, do we have an armory done? I don't know, but there. Okay, 2-2 is underway now. But again, it's going to be a 30, 40 second timing window where Serral will just have such a better army than that of Heromarine.
Well, he's got an overwhelming army on top of it here. 76 Zerglings, and he's continuing to expand that amount here. The upgrades, not in too bad a shape here. Both players sitting on 1-1 at this moment. Things have kind of equalized out in terms of supply, but Heromarine once again has that bio advantage here that he can capitalize on. He's got to be able to target down Banelings, though. Banelings will be very, very effective on creep against these Marines. Tanks are going to siege up on the high ground, and that's going to make things a little bit more complicated for Serral to try and surround, but he is setting up the run-by here at the third base location, and those are going to go in and completely uncontested. Marines are going to have to stem out of the natural to try and get that done. The armory is done because we do have Hellbats now, and Heromarine is ready to push. He's got a sizable army lead here, 104 to 76, and he is going to try and capitalize on this push moment, but he can't afford to get surrounded here by Serral. Ling's going to come in on the right-hand side and try and pick off one of those tanks, and it will be successful, but Heromarine has a trail of more units coming down the path here, so that surround is going to be more and more difficult here. Drones are going to have to get shuffled around to try and protect themselves, but now here come the Banelings on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. There's not enough tank coverage to be able to protect every single angle here, but the bio on the ramp will be able to help protect just a little bit, but Heromarine takes a very, very poor engagement there. Serral with a nice surround.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is what makes this map so scary. As a Zerg player, that push through the left-hand side, you have that really nice choke that you can put tanks in to defend. But if you're Serral, and you're able to just sandbag long enough, wait for your upgrade timing, because that's what that was. It was 2-2 versus 1-1. Well, you're going to be able to take a really nice trade indeed, as there's only one tank on the map right now. It will go down, and now it's just the entire army in the medevacs. And here's the scary thing. The army's in the medevacs. It's not on the ground. If Serral just looks to shadow that, he's going to be able to break on through before the army is back, but no. Serral says, it's fine. I'm going to take a base. I'm going to go up to, what is that, 6 bases now. I'm going to get Hive. I'm going to get, sorry, folks, in this series, we're not allowed to call it Zergling Crack. We're not allowed to call them Cracklings. It's Zergling G Fuel, and they're G Fueling, so they're going to attack so much faster. But anyways, at this point, Serral's taking the timing, maybe not to go kill Heromarine, as it was looking like he had the possibility to, but the upgrade lead was gone. Instead, I'm going to establish creep. I'm going to take that extra base. I'm going to really secure double the base count of my Terran opponent at this point, which is what is happening in this game. I'm going to establish my creep spread. I'm going to make it so that this push from Heromarine is never going to happen again.
And it's a matter of securing that position as well. That is going very, very strongly for Serral. Heromarine going to try and dive on top of that base, and he does manage to get it. But once again, we've got more stoppage of Heromarines expansion. It's just 1 or 2 Zerglings parked at different locations, getting a good scouting information. Oh, these medevacs are extending just a little bit too far forward here, not really microing themselves away from harm, but Liberators will be able to start aiding out as well. It's the creep spread, though, that is really, really strong here for Serral. That's not giving Heromarine any opportunity to engage forward. Just constantly having to engage against Banelings on creep. That means they're going to move a lot faster. They're going to be able to position a lot better. 9 drones do end up going down off of the Liberator harass, but that's not going to be worth it in the long run here, especially since a planetary fortress is going to get picked off as a result.
I mean, yeah, these Zerglings, they have drunk deep on the fountain of G Fuel. They're going to be able to take this base down. Actually, no, the repair is going to be there. The splash damage, not enough Banes. Banes killing army, not killing the base, and that's going to be expensive. In the extreme there for Serral. You committed a lot to that. You didn't get it at all. 10 workers is not the price that you're looking for. But still, we have 3-3 on the way. And Serral, we talked about this in game 1. I thought it's what we were going to see. We didn't. He must have heard me. He must have gone back and watched the cast, because it's going to be Ultras in this game number 2. By the way, Serral at 13 minutes in almost. He's only 1,000 resources behind the Terran player. This is insane trades here from the Zerg, because again, he's just waiting for those timings. He's waiting for 1-1 versus 0-0, 2-2 versus 1-1. That timing where his army is just going to be demonstrably better than whatever the Terran can really bring to bear. And that just makes it so hard for Heromarine to really make that happen. As now Marauders are going to try to find their way on in. And, you know, it's a bunch of Banes. Marauders are not, or Banes are not good against that. But the Lings, of course, they're going to be able to get on top of things now. And looks like eventually Serral should be able to deal with this. But not before the base goes down, I don't think.
I think there's just enough here that Serral doesn't want to accidentally risk losing some high-value units. And this hatchery is expendable at this point. Serral's got, what, 5 or 6 others at this point? So he's not going to stress out too much there. Some really, really solid Baneling connections by Serral to keep things alive. But Heromarine doing a very good job of staying toe-to-toe with the supply count of his opponent. 185 to 170, and Heromarine's able to continue moving things back and forth. Despite the fact that Serral has that economic advantage, you wouldn't necessarily guess that. And if we look at the units lost tab right here, it's a margin of error for Serral where he can play a little bit less efficiently than his opponent and still manage to come out ahead in the long run because he has that strong economic backing. He is going to continue adding on more of those ultras as well, 2 more in tow, but Heromarine's going to want to start targeting down these queens. Serral can't afford to lose all of that transfuse energy, but Serral focused on the opposite side of the map, and here's going to be another base under fire.
You know, we have Ling and Banes trying to find their way on in. This time, I think, there we go. The brand identity for G Fuel is no longer under threat. The base goes down. G Fueling's doing their job. But this is what I'm worried about, Rushi. Not whether the bases go down or not, but Heromarine, he forgot his +3. He has +3 attack, he does not have +3 armor. We're not really seeing him develop his tech beyond bio because he just can't keep that 4th base mine. He cannot keep it alive. So no ghosts, no liberators, nothing that is really going to be the ultimate solution to these ultras. And yeah, Marauders are good against them, and you can build a lot of Marauders, and that's fine. But even still, you get a lot of Lings on top of them. And the Widow Mines, though, are going to do a great job here. Heromarine trying to micro back into the choke. All the Lings go down. The Marauders, they just cannot bring themselves, their big waddling bodies, to bear against the army of the biggest Gabe. And Gabe is starting to make a little bit of inroads here.
Yeah, he cuts things a little bit, but I mean, he's mostly just transferring out army for army, but he's losing economically on the backside of things. He really needs to be able to pick off a base here, and this is a moment where Heromarine steps forward. He tries to put pressure on that base, but Serral's ready to pounce. He's got Lings, he's got Banes, he has everything he needs, and now he's going to have parasitic bombs that land pretty well on top of the medevac clumps here. He's going to lose a couple of those medevacs that have units. He loses a third. At least that did drop off its payload before finally falling, but this is just the example of what the last 10 to 15 minutes has looked like for Heromarine. He just can't hang anymore, and Serral's going to be able to outlast his opponent. GG is called, and Serral 2-0 in the series. He's on his way to possibly clearing out his opponent 3-0.
Yeah, that one parasitic bomb, you're like, oh, you know, it's a good parasitic bomb, and then it kills 50 supply, and you're like, well, okay, GG. Serral wants to date himself, apparently, is what I said there. That's fine. He wants to play himself in the finals. There we go.
Okay. Well, you know, that's fine. We're gonna sit and wrestle with the idea there. We've talked about the different ways that Maru and Dark could interact with each other, and of course we came up with Mark and Daru. But how do we find a way to make like Serral and Maru even sillier? Is it going to be Ser versus Marmar, or do you have something else cooking up in the back of the green screen that you got there?
You were expecting me to be like any way, shape, or form creative here, Rushi? That's not going to happen. But wasn't there like a Saramar or something? Wasn't there a planet in the campaign, something like that?
Oh, I believe you. You've put me on the spot for my StarCraft 2 knowledge, and I really don't want to disappoint people, so I'm going to say, absolutely. I like what you're thinking, and I think we should talk about something else.
No, it's just Marl. Thank you. You know, sometimes Twitch chat has a good idea, and this time they're telling us it's Marl in for that final series. And what do you think? What do you think, Rushi? Is that the name we go with?
Marl? Well, I mean, we've obviously forgotten the other possibility, Hiromaru. Because we've got to give the believers something to hope for here. There needs to be a little bit of copium going around right now, especially if you are the blue Terran player, because you're not out of this series just yet. You do have the opportunity to try and scrape your way back in here in game number 3. He would definitely love to try and recover himself, much like Backblaze recovers your lost data in a hurry. So make sure to check out backblaze.com/KOB2 and hopefully we can all recover a little bit of ourselves in this StarCraft 2 series.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's not just me now. We've broken him. There we go, Rushi. But it was Marsara, by the way. That was the thing that sounded like Marsarl or something. So I was, within like at least 3 approximations away from it. It's close enough. It's fine. Now, in this game, we do see something a little bit different from the biggest of games on Hardwire. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be mech because I have no idea. Nothing has been really shown just yet. But it's not 3CC play. He's decided he wants to be a little bit more aggressive. He wants to put a little bit more pressure on Serral because we talked about this. Even as, by the way, we do have the line of that truth because of how good Heromarine played in game number 1. But Serral is a player that you do not want to allow to get in the late game, much like Maru. In fact, we see Mario play differently against Serral than like any other Zerg player, where he actually gets much more aggressive on the map. He goes for those 2-1-1s. He gets active on the map early, and he just tries to make it uncomfortable for Serral as much as he can. So then Serral doesn't get into that late game terrifying position where he goes up to 7 bases and he says, look, I don't really care what you do on the map because I'm going to have like 2-3 bases more than you. I'm going to take your bases, and you're just not going to be allowed to mine anymore. You're just not going to allow to have any sort of economy anymore.
And that's always been the telling tale, especially in the matchup between these two, is how well you can deny the economy of your opponent, because that's ultimately where it's going to come out to. You need to constantly be able to shut down the Zerg player from being able to just expand over and over and over again, but also Heromarines not able to really replicate his armies in such a great fashion if he doesn't have the overwhelming orbital command backup, if he doesn't have his 3rd and 4th base here. So that is just like that's me saying, wow, just play the game, forehead. But you bring a very good point that needs to be the focus for both of these players, especially so for Heromarine, as he wants to slow down Serral, and he's struggled with that in game number 1 and 2 so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the Banshee's going to show up now, and well, it's only one in the Spore's in the proper position. Once the second Banshee pops up, of course, it is 2 Banshees. It can kill a drone. Pap, pap, pap. Drones go down. But, I mean, Serral, he's good. He's got Queens on position. He's got Spore where it needs to be. He's got that detection. He's got Queens just zoning even further beyond. And Heromarine, he's not going to fall into that trap of, yes, oh, let me kill a Queen. Well, they got a lot of energy, and they're just going to try to bait you back into detection range and kill it off if you're not paying total attention to it. So, Banshees will stay alive. Heromarine has gotten 0 pressure on the map. He's not really delayed creep spread at all. He's not killed a single worker. And that is the goal of Hellion Banshee. It's not all in. Absolutely not. But you do want to get 4 or 5 workers. You do want to delay the creep spread a whole lot more than Heromarine has been able to do. And now we have Serral. He's growing unfettered. He has his Evo chambers on the way. They're not going to be... He's not going to have these 2-2 versus 1-1, 1-1 versus 0-0 timings that he might have otherwise had, but that he had in that previous game, but he's still going to have tons of Lings, tons of Banes. And the creep spread is developing to the point where it's going to be hard for Heromarine to really push in.
And in this position, I mean, he needs to find a way to capitalize on this type of a map. It's got a lot of different alleyways that he can exploit. It's got a lot of different chokes he can work with, and Serral already pushing out to try and limit some of those engagement points. Some good scouting here coming in by Serral. We'll be able to see that 3rd base dropping down. Also has the Overseer just north of that main, so we'll be able to capitalize on that going forward. It's a Hydra Den going to be coming down, so we've got 1-1 Melee Carapace on the way. We are going to go into Hydraling Bane, and Serral's just going to go back into more of what he is most comfortable doing. But finally now, Heromarine going to try and put on a little bit of pressure here. Double Banshee harassment going to get into the main base. It's guarded by a Queen and a couple of different Spore Crawlers, so it should be a limited amount of drone damage. A couple of poles aren't going to do that much necessarily. 2 drones also maybe not worth the investment, but this follow-up could be a lot stronger.
That it could. The drop's going to find its way out into the main. Not a lot of Lings just yet. And 1-1 is done in 4 seconds. This is actually a timeout very well here for Heromarine as he looks to just fight everything on the ground. But there's enough now. Banelings come filtering on in. But he distracted Serral for the moment. He got 4 drones, and he's going to get a Banshee for his, a Baneling for his trouble as well. So that's something. But, again, you want to get that damage. You want to get those 4 drones with those Banshees a lot earlier in this game. But, actually, we're not going to do that because we actually got an engagement happening for real here. Heromarine on the right side trying to find something with this single drop that remains. And you know what? He's got the nice, what used to be a tank spot, but that was fixed. at least on this version of the map. He's got a couple Marines there on the choke or on the cliff. The Queens are going to be able to knock that one down. There's a bio on the left side as well. Serral just not allowing Heromarine on the creep whatsoever, not allowing him to find those big engagements that he's looking for. We're gonna have to see whether the Widowmine drop is gonna be a little bit different here. Do we have drilling claws? The answer is no. Serral on top of things here. Nothing's really going down. Hydras pop out just to kill everything. Hydras, of course, outrange Widowmine, so yeah, nothing to it. And the medevac goes down.
Yeah, that was actually really good timing on those Hydras. They just pop out and immediately brought into battle there. So Serral just very, very strong positioning and capitalizes on some very good timing as well. I mean, didn't necessarily anticipate that those Hydras are going to be needed at that particular moment, but sometimes it's just a casualty of convenience, and it works out in the end for the red Zerg player. But look at the units lost tab there. It's so very, very efficient here for Serral. You can't ever look at the number of units lost because so many of those units end up being drones and or lings, but the number on the right hand side, very, very important. And anytime those numbers are close together, that's always going to favor the Zerg player.
Yeah, there's just been like no trading, no resources have really been lost this game as Serral's going to lose that big engagement there. He will force a hot pickup. A couple Marines do go down. I don't think actually Heromarine lost too much with that one. I think he got off in time, but here we are. At this point, again, Heromarine can find no value on the map. The creep spread of Serral is not quite as evil as it was in other games. As Heromarine has done a decent job of knocking it down just a little bit, but Serral does have his 5th base. He has that kind of internal base. It's so hard to push for the Terran player unless they're really able to get right on top of it. Creep spread is far in advance of that. And now here we just try to find it more and more valuable. Even with a quad drop, Serral is on top of things. He's really, really not able to find the value that he's looking for. But hey, look, Heromarine does have a 4th base. He does have 2-2 underway. It's going to be actually not quite as advantageously timed as 1-1 was, but you're still going to have that timing. And we're going to see a 5th base. So Heromarine, he's getting all geared up into the late game here. And it should be noted, Serral's hive is a little bit later than it was in the previous game. Not that it really matters here. Serral crushing on into this army. Wow. You don't want to fight with just with the Hydras. The Banelings get God connections. Medevac's not going to go down. But still, a massive fight there for Serral in the middle of the map.
Yeah, it was a very efficient trade for Serral as well. He had Banelings left over, and anytime you can clean out an entire Bioforce and still have a sizable amount of Banelings left in your army to regroup with, that's a great situation for the Zerg player. So Serral's going to be able to continue to rotate, not allow Heromarine to rotate himself or reinforce and just push in once again while those reinforcements are able to come streaming across the map. And we start seeing a kind of a leveling here. Oh, look at all the Banelings! We're going to... Oh, nope. You gotta be kidding me. The tease. I mean, that obviously wouldn't be worth it, but it would be worth it for the content.
Serral says, look, okay, it's gonna be fine. I'm going to be ready for the next fight. When I have you forced to retreat, that's when I'm gonna go. Actually, wait, I'm sorry. They unburrowed, I think. I think they're coming in from a flank from the side. No, they're into the mineral line, I guess. So they're actually not gonna find anything. Disappointing. Because you're like, oh man, he's just gonna wait for the bigger trade. And instead, he doesn't get much of a trade at all, as those Banelings definitely did not drink the G Fuel.
We're gonna speculate what Zerg flavors would be named for G Fuel, but Heromarine trying to push on in and get a little bit more damage done. Great concave here by the Hydras. That's going to allow him to really pick away at those units of Heromarine. But once again, this is just a Serral that's allowed to run free on his side of the map. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases and expanding beyond that as well. If we look at the units lost tab, once again, still very ridiculously efficient here. 173 lings has gone down though, but overall the cost is not that much. Queens are going to have to transfuse themselves. Oh no, Brenda wanders forward into death. There we finally get the payout. Not a huge payout, but a payout nonetheless, and Serral able to capitalize on that and prevent Heromarine from getting any kind of harassment done on his side of the map.
Yeah, pretty much. I think actually that trade earlier, I think that would have been bigger than what Serral eventually went for, but now we have a fight cap happening on the middle of the map here. Bailey's trying to filter past the Marauders, saying, no, I don't want you. I want the tasty Marines on behind as Serral. Once again, he's going to take that fight. Now opening up a 30 army supply lead. The Lings almost have their G Fuel upgrade. We have +3 armor just about ready here. +1 melee as well, or +1 ranged as well. The Hydra's about to be a whole lot stronger. That being said, nice Widowmine knocking down a Viper. -200, -200 right there. Vipers are expensive and you want to find some value with them. But still, look at the bank. Serral, he's maxed out. He is able to stay maxed out. As I say that, of course, morphing 12 lurkers does does put a little bit of a drop in your gas count, just a little bit.
Yeah, but you get a good return out of it as well. Those 12 lurkers are going to be able to start going to work almost immediately. And honestly, yeah, sure, he doesn't have adaptive talons yet, but he's got such great creep spread. He's going to be able to be very, very positional with these lurkers, even having... Oh, okay, well, this is a little less good here. Lurker's not going to be able to help defend the queens, so losing a few of those queens will slow that creep spread just a little bit. So now adaptive talent is going to be very, very important. And Heromarine finally able to capitalize on a little bit of harassment here on the top side of the map. We'll pick up 4 drones. It's a small amount, but it's a small step in the right direction for the blue Terran player.
Yeah, you know what? You got to remember, in that game 1 where Heromarine looked so good, he was in this spot, and that was how he found a way to come back. Like, he was not a great spot. He was not really able to put pressure on, but he survived the lurker time. He was able to get himself up to 3-3 and a lot of ghosts, and suddenly he's able to start doing more, able to start reducing the economy of Serral. And what you got to remember, Hardwire does not have as many bases as Glittering Ashes does. The Widowmine somehow will get a shot off. So if Heromarine is able to do that, maybe, honestly, maybe even just as good as he was able to do that against Serral in that previous game, as the base goes down. That being said, we got a lot of snipes on the lurkers on the right side. The lurkers on the left are not really fighting, so Heromarine will be able to section this off just a little bit, but even still, his army is melting. I'm sorry, let me get back to my copium argument for a second. If he's able to keep doing that, the same thing he did on Glittering Ashes, on a map that has 2 less bases on it, or 1 or 2 less bases on it, maybe he's actually going to get a different result, because we did see Serral. Really, he was carried by that bank. He was able to get up to, I think, 5k, 3k, and even the couple good trades that Heromarine started to take in the late game did not really matter. That being said, the flip side is it means the Terran can expand as well, and, you know, whatever. But I'm going to make my copium argument for now, because I want this to go greater than a 3-0.
Yeah, I think that would be a desirable outcome for everyone involved but Serral. I think Serral's happy with a 3-0, and he's working really hard to get it. He's got the bank built up. He's going to be able to attack this base once again, and it is just an orbital command, so that's not going to be as effective. Good Widowmine connections, though, on those banelings. That's going to force Serral to back up, at least for the time being, but it's just going to be to regroup once again. There's no split potential available. Where would the units even try to go? And banelings will crash on in and crash Heromarine's hopes of moving forward in this bracket. 3-0. BeoMulf, you called it. Serral moves on to the grand finals of the King of Battles #2.